Hello viewers, this is Manas welcoming you to the series You the Oracle Expert, your one-stop shop to learn and practice Oracle database administration and Unix with hands-on experiments using Oracle VirtualBox virtual machines. Build your knowledge base, confidence, and make your way to be an expert Oracle DBA. Hello viewers, this is the third part of the topic on creating a database environment health report using the data from OEM 13C repository, OEM BI Publisher report, and Microsoft Power BI. In the first part, we developed the SQL statement that is going to extract the data from OEM repository database. And in the second part, we created the report using BI Publisher report that comes pre with OEM 13C. If you are not using OEM BI Publisher or you have no future plans to use that, you can skip that second part. However, I suggest you watch the first part to get a better understanding on today's tutorial. I have also mentioned the link to the first and the second parts of the tutorial in the description of this video below. In today's tutorial, that is the third and the final part of this topic, we are going to create the same report that we created in OEM BI Publisher report using Microsoft Power BI also. Here is a quick recap and the overview of the SQL statement that we developed in the last tutorial. Along with the OEM target name and the host name, this SQL statement gives us a lot of information to determine the health of the database environment. It includes the CPU max and average utilization percentage, swap max and average utilization percentage, IOPS max and average utilization percentage. These three statistics are related to the database host. Then the tablespace max percentage utilization, the usage level of the table spaces, that is whether it's in the warning or critical level of utilization or it's below warning level, the data file system max percentage utilization, the archive file system or the fast recovery area utilization percentage, the apply lag in seconds and the transport lag in seconds for the standby databases, and the top DB wait event along with the wait class. Now before I go ahead and create the report, let me give you a quick background of what is Microsoft Power BI. Microsoft Power BI is a very useful tool that provides business analytics service with interactive visualizations and intelligence capabilities for end users to create their own reports and dashboards. The desktop version of this tool is free to use and I have given below the link to download it. You can use this easy to learn tool and create informative and interactive reports and dashboards. You need to have proper license to publish your work at organization level. I have a separate video series on how to download, configure and use this tool to create reports, starting with simple ones to a variety of complex ones with different visuals. And the link to the video series is given in the description of this video below. So let's begin creating the report using Microsoft Power BI. Now once you start the Power BI application, the console will look like this. And the first thing you need to do to create the report is to get the data. So click on this Get Data button and click on this More item. And under the Get Data options, click on this Database item. And from the right hand side list, click on the Oracle database. Then click Connect. In this box, you have to provide the connection properties like the server name, port, and the SID or the service name of the database. So I'll specify my server name, admin server manas.home : 1521 is the port number / catdb.manas.home is my service name. And next, select this import option. And the direct query option can also be selected, but if you select this option, every time you run the report, your report is going to connect to the database to pull the data. So I'm selecting the import option here. You can skip the command timeout in minutes option here. Then I'll specify a simple query just to make sure that the connection has been established. So I'll put a query like select sysdate, put an alias for the sysdate as SD from dual. So this is a simple SQL statement I'm using here just to test the connection to the database. Then click OK. In the next screen, it will ask for the credentials. So we'll select the database option, not the Windows option. And I will specify the system user to connect to the database and click connect. If everything is correct, in the next screen you will be able to see the data that has been pulled. So this is the sysdate and the alias sd, which is displayed in this data grid. And now you need to click on this load button. It will take a few moments and the data is loaded to the data model, but it is not yet displayed into the canvas. So we have three options here: the report that represents the canvas itself, and the data grid, and the data model. So we'll go back to the report option there to design the report. And in the right hand side we see that there's a query 1, which is nothing but the SQL query that we use to pull the data, and we have to replace that test query with the actual query that we want to pull the data from our OEM repository database. So click on these three dots at the right hand side for the query 1, and it will give us the option to edit query. And in the next screen, click on the advanced editor button. In this window, all we need to do is to replace this test query with our actual query that I'm going to copy from the Toad window. So let's go to the Toad window, and from here I'll simply copy our query to the Power BI window. I will replace this test query within the two double quotes with the actual query. I just pasted it using Ctrl V. Make sure that there is no extra lines and click on the Done button. Click on the Edit Permissions button again and click on Run button. It will take a few moments to pull the data and display in the grid. Now our data is displayed. Next, if you want, you can rename this query 1 to something else. I'm just leaving it like that. Close this window. It will ask for saving it. Click yes, and then it will load the new data again. Click the Run button again if it asks, and the data to the data model has been loaded, and we can see that the query 1 structure has been changed, and now we can see the actual fields in the list of fields there. Next, in this canvas we need to put a report header. So you can click on this text box, drag it to the end, and we'll put a name like DB Environment Health Report. Make it a little larger, bold, center align. And then to display the data in the report, first we have to place a visual in this canvas, and that visual list is here. We have a lot of choices there, like if you want to represent your data in a graphical format, you can select these pictures or graphs from this list. But in our case, we are going to display the data in a tabular format. So you can simply click on the table visual there, and it will be placed in the canvas automatically. And it is there. Increase the height a little. Now to display the fields, we can simply drag and drop the fields that we want to be there in the required order. To make some more room for the information that is displayed here, I'll simply collapse these two windows, which is not needed at this time, and increase this one by a few centimeters. And now I can see all the names in this list. First one is the OEM target name. So click on this checkbox and it will be automatically placed there. Next thing, the host. Then CPU max, CPU average, swap max, swap average, IOPS max, IOPS average, then data file max, archive or FRA file system max, then the tablespace max, then the apply lag in seconds, and finally the top DB wait event. We are not selecting the transport lag, and the usage level will be used to format this tablespace max percentage utilization column. I'll explain it later on. Now we see there is a line totaling all these numbers which we don't want. So to remove that, click on this table, expand this visualization window again, go to this format option, and in this list expand this total button and switch off the totals line, and it's gone. Since all our required fields have been selected, now we can collapse this window to make room for the other windows. Now we see that all these numbers are having decimal places which we don't need. So to remove the decimal, again select the table, under the formatting options expand this field formatting list here, select the appropriate column, in fact all the numerical values here. So we'll first select the CPU max PC, and in the value of decimal places we'll put it 0, and in the CPU max PC the decimal place is gone. Similarly, we'll do it for the other numerical fields also. Now all the decimal places are gone, and now we want to reduce the font size by a little so that the fields are visible in this page. When the table is selected, go to the formatting option again, go to the grid, and here we will reduce the text size to 8. Now all our fields are visible in one window. You can also do that by increasing the page size, but this one is easier and it's going to work for us. That's the reason I selected that option. Now we need to modify the column headers because we don't need this underscore PC at the end of all these names. Instead, we want to display a percentage symbol there. So to do that, you can simply click on the field header or the column header, and in this list of columns, so simply double click on that name and make your changes. Similarly, select the other fields also where you want to display a percentage symbol instead of the underscore PC. And the renaming of all these column headers have been completed. Now in this report, the CPU max percentage, CPU average percentage, swap max percentage, swap average, IOPS max, IOPS average, data file system max, these are all server level statistics. Whereas the archive file system or FRA percentage, table space max utilization percentage, apply lag in seconds, or top DB wait event, these are database level statistics. The max values tell us if there was a spike sometime during the day, and the average values tell us how the overall server health was throughout the day. So in fact, these average values are more important for us. Now we will format this report with different colors in the cells and fonts based on certain threshold values. For example, in the CPU max percentage column, if a value is greater than or equal to 90, then it will be considered as a critical situation, and the cell color will be represented with a red and the font color will be in white. And if the value is greater than or equal to 80, then it will be considered as a warning situation and the cell color will be changed to yellow. And if the value is less than 80, then it will be considered as a normal situation and the cell color will be in green. But in the average column, we will set a slightly lower values in the thresholds, such as if the value is greater than 50, then it will be considered as a critical situation, and it will be represented with a red color in the cell, and the font color will be in white. Similarly, if the value is greater than 40, then it will be considered as warning situation and the cell color will be in yellow, and if it is below 40, then it will be considered as a normal situation and the cell color will be in green. Similarly, for swap max and average columns, it will be 90, 80 and less than 80, and 50, 40 and less than 40 respectively for the critical, warning and normal utilizations. And for the IOPS max and average columns, it will be 2000, 1500 and less than 1500, and 1500, 1200 and less than 1200 respectively for the critical, warning and normal situations. For data file system max utilization, it will be 90, 80 and less than 80 respectively for critical, warning and normal situation. For archive file system or FRA percentage utilization, it will be 75, 50 and less than 50 respectively for critical, warning and normal situation. For the tablespace max, the status will be actually given by another column called usage level. If you see, we have an extra column called usage level, which is not used directly in this report, but this field will be used to determine what is the usage level of tablespace, and based on that we will decide the color. For example, this usage level column takes only 3 distinct values, 0, 1 or 2. If it is a 0, then it is considered as a normal utilization. If it is 1, then it will be considered as a warning situation, and if it is 2, then it will be considered as a critical utilization of the tablespace. So that's the reason this particular column or the field is not directly used in this report, and instead we are using it to determine what color will be given to the tablespace max utilization cells. Similarly, for the apply lag in seconds, the critical situation will be when the lag is greater than or equal to 60 seconds, and the warning situation will be when the lag is greater than or equal to 30 seconds. And if the lag is below 30 seconds, then it will be considered as a normal situation and the color of the cell will change accordingly. For the top DB weight event, there will be no change in colors. Please note that these thresholds that I am using as examples are not absolute, and you can change it as per the requirements of your environment. Now let me show you how I set these thresholds using a feature called conditional formatting in Power BI. I'll show it just for the CPU related columns and the tablespace column. For the remaining, I will simply fast forward it. So let me first take the CPU max column. First, select the table and go to visualization options. Here, click on this formatting option, then go to conditional formatting here, expand the list and select the CPU max percentage column. And we are mainly interested in changing the background color of the cell and font color, so we will switch these two on, and this one. Now click on the advanced controls for background color. In this window, we will change the format by option to rules and applies to values only. You can leave it like this, sum of the CPU max percentage, although it is not actually summing up, but by default it goes to sum, and let it be here as summarization. And if the value is greater than or equal to, say, 0 and less than 80, then it will be considered as the normal situation, and this has to be number and number. Although we know these are percentage values, but actually these are represented as numbers here, so we'll select the number option there. And then the background color will be green. Here we'll select the farthest green zone here, and then add a new rule. If the value is greater than or equal to 80 and less than 90, then it will be, of course we have to select number here, then it will be a warning situation, and we'll select the yellow color in the cell. Now add one more rule there. If the value is greater than or equal to 90 and less than equal to some maximum values, you can leave it blank. It will automatically take maximum. Then the color of the cell will be red. And press OK button. Now we can see that the color of the cells have changed, but we have not changed the font color yet. So click on these advanced controls under the font color section, and we'll set the same rules there. Rules applies to values only. Let it be sum. Then if the value is greater than or equal to 0, number, and less than 80, number, then the font color will be black. Add a new rule. If the value is greater than or equal to 80 and less than 90, number, then also the font color will be black. And a new rule, if the value is greater than equal to 90, number, and less than equal to a maximum number, then the font color will be white. And now we can see that the values and the cells are more distinct now. Similarly, we'll set the thresholds using conditional formatting on this particular column, CPU average percentage. So again, in this list, select the CPU average percentage, switch on the background color and the font color, click on the advanced controls. Here we'll select the rules, values only, sum, and if the value is greater than or equal to 0, number, and less than say 40, number, then it will be considered as a normal situation with a green color. New rule, greater than equal to 40, number, less than 50, then it will be considered as a warning situation with yellow color. New rule, greater than equal to 50, number is less than or equal to a maximum number, then it will be with red color. Press OK. And also we have to make the changes in the font color. Click on the advanced controls, rules, values only, sum. If the value is greater than or equal to 0, number, and is less than 40, number, then the font color will be black. New rule, greater than or equal to 40, number, less than 50, number, then also the font color will be black. New rule, if the value is greater than or equal to 50, number, and is less than equal to a maximum number, then the font color will be white. And now you can see that the cells are not in critical values, so we have the expected colors there. Now I will set the conditional formatting for all the server related columns with the thresholds that I described before. So our conditional formatting is completed until this column, archive file system or FRA percentage utilization. Next we'll take the tablespace max utilization, and for this we have to use this usage level column. So go to the formatting options and under conditional formatting select the tablespace max percentage utilization. Switch on the background color and the font color. Click on the advanced controls under background color, rules, values only. Here, based on field, under this we have to select our usage level column. And this sum, whatever summarization it is doing, it is not going to make any difference for us, so let it be there. And if the value is greater than or equal to 0, number, and less than 1, number, then it is normal. New rule, if it is greater than 1 number, less than 2 number, then it is warning condition with yellow background color. New rule, if the value is greater than or equal to 2 number and less than the maximum number, then it will be red. Click OK. Then we have to change the font colors also. Click on the advanced controls under the font color options, rules, select the usage level field. If the value is greater than or equal to 0 number and less than 1, then the font color will be black. New rule, if the value is greater than or equal to 1 number and less than 2 number, then it will be black again. Please note that I am segregating this into 2 different rules, but if you want, you can also make it 1. Instead of 0 to 1 range, we can put 0 to 2 range there. And again, new rule, if the value is greater than or equal to 2 and less than the maximum number, then the font color will be white. I just refreshed the data by clicking on this refresh button, and we can see that that some of the values in this grid have changed, and also their formatting colors. For example, if you see this ORCL1, this particular database, it has no tablespace related information. It's because this is one of the demonstration databases, and this database has been down for more than 24 hours, and no tablespace related metric has been collected in the last 24 hours. That's why nothing is displayed here. This ORCL2 is the standby database for this ORCL1, and for standby databases, by default, OEM will not collect any tablespace related information. Similarly, for apply lag seconds, which is only relevant to the standby databases, it is shown as 0 because both these databases are down currently. Now, to make this report a little nicer and more appealing, we will make some cosmetic changes. For example, let's make the background of this canvas a little different than white. So when the canvas is clicked, go to this formatting option, go to the page background, and here instead of white, let's select dark blue, and the transparency will be 0. And similarly, let's make some change to the text box which is displaying the report header, and for this, select a text and make the color white, and the background of the text box will be 100% transparent, so that whatever is the report background, that will be visible through the text box. Now click on this data table, and here we have to make the report headers a little bold. So go to the formatting options again, go to the column header, and in the font family, select a little different font, say Sequoia UI bold. Now the headers are more distinct than before. Now in the same grid, let's make the data also a little bold. Go to the values, and in the font family, select Sequoia UI bold. And we can see that the data is also now more distinct than before. Now we'll also remove the background of this data table. So we'll simply unselect this background option under the formatting options of this table. So switch off this background option, and now the white background is gone. And when all our formattings are done, our report will look like this. Next, we need to configure the options to distribute this report to the people who are interested to see this. And please do not forget to save your report using the save button, and it will save the report with an extension as PBIX. If you have the free desktop version of Power BI, then you can refresh this report periodically and manually, and then send a screenshot to the intended recipients as email attachment. That is the zero cost option, but will take some of your time. If you have the professional license for Power BI, you can schedule the refresh, publish the report using this publish button at an organization level workspace, and share the report as a web link. Once you publish your report, it will appear in the organization level workspace as shown here. Each of the report has its corresponding dataset also listed in this workspace. People who has access to this workspace will be able to directly see these reports by simply clicking on this hyperlink. But you also have the option to share it by the share button here, and send the share link to one or more email IDs. You can also copy the link address from here and send it to specific people in your organization. In the dataset, you have the option to refresh it on demand, or you can schedule the refresh by clicking on these three dots here. Then go to settings, and under settings, you go to schedule refresh option, switch it on or off, and specify the time at which you want this report or the dataset to be refreshed. So viewers, I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. Please hit the like button if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss an episode in this series for the Oracle DBS or similar educational videos that I am uploading every week.